Now, this is probably bad advice. When most people, when I say this, they're going to say it's bad advice. Now, I want you to understand something. I'm going to explain to you why you should never do a 401k loan or a HELOC, because, like I said, our number one goal is to make you walk away with as much money as possible. So everybody's like, and here's why. What I want from you, I want you to have the house you want to live in, and I want you to have the retirement that you can enjoy. People don't explain these things to people because it's a lack of knowledge. So if you don't understand, if these sound like good ideas to you, that's okay. I'll explain to you exactly why that they're not. If you're worried about the debt ban, we can take care of that. You're worried about debt collectors, take care of that. Worried about credit, take care of that. But let me kind of break down into this. First, we'll start out the difference in secured and unsecured loans. So this doesn't, we'll do 401ks first. So 401ks, why I think borrowing from your 401k is bad. A couple things. When you do, you have to pay a 10% tax penalty, right? So when you do the calc on that, if you have to pay the taxes and pay the 10% penalty, say that puts you at 30%, right? Okay, that's 30%. Well, then when you think about what you have to end up taking out, if you need to pay off $40,000 in loans, you're going to end up taking out $55,000 from your 401k just to get the $40,000 you need to pay off the loans, because you're going to have to take out that taxes and that 10% penalty as well. Because and what I'm trying to say is, like, think about it. If you take out, let's just say $60,000. If you took out $60,000 in loans, and they hit you with a 30% or a 33%, 20%, let's say 23% in taxes and 10% penalty, 3% total, cash in hand after you take that money out is 40 grand. So it's going to cost a lot to be able to do that. And you're losing out on that future growth and that retirement that you need. You can also borrow from your 401k. Still would not advise that. And I'll tell you why. Because most of the time people end up in a bad situation. They can't pay it back, and they end up losing it anyway. All right, now we'll get to HELOCs. We'll get to HELOCs, and that HELOC is a home equity line of credit. Sorry for all the acronyms. The reason they're terrible, you have to understand the difference between a secured and an unsecured debt. So credit cards, unsecured debt. General definition is, if it's secured, they can take something away from you if you don't pay for it. For instance, your mortgage. You don't pay your mortgage, they can take your house away. You don't pay your car note, they can take your car away. Those are two secured debts. You go buy a TV with a credit card and you don't pay the credit card, they can't take the TV away because it is an unsecured debt. I always think it's a terrible idea to convert unsecured debts into secured debts. Because, for instance, when you file bankruptcy, you hear the thing like, if you want to give something up, you can, and you don't have to pay it back, depending on a bunch of calculations, but we'll use that for instance. So you say you did qualify to not have to pay back your unsecured debt. Well, if you have $40,000 in credit cards and you filed bankruptcy and you did not want to pay you would not have to pay that back. That's $40,000 that gets discharged. Since it's discharged in bankruptcy, it's not taxable as income. It's clear. You're cleared to cross. You're good to go. If before you file, you roll it into a HELOC. Now it's a secured debt. If you want to keep your house, you have to pay that back. So you took a debt you could get rid of and converted it into a debt you could not get rid of, right? And that's the real issue here, and that's why we think it's about it, because we see people all the time who they have their mortgage and they have their HELOC and they can't afford both of them, but because it's a HELOC, we can't get rid of it unless they want to get rid of their house. And like I said, I want you to win. I don't care about the banks. And so my thing is, let's keep your house out of it as much as possible. Let's leave it credit cards or unsecured or whatever. And if we need to, we can deal with that a lot easier than we can secured debt. Also, once you do a HELOC, the bank won't work with you because they know they can get the money out of the house. They know they're going to get paid one way. Even if that's sell the house, they're going to get paid. So just so you know, that's why we think 401k loans and HELOCs are bad ideas for debt settlement.